Hi, everybody. So I came up with an idea for a new podcast title when I was discussing with Upper Nimbus earlier in the week. The idea of game mechanics that we're glad are dead. Please go and check that podcast out if you have not already. And during that discussion, we came up with the idea of discussing video game movies and their supposed curse. So, welcome back, Upper Nimbus.
Thank you for having me, Colin. I appreciate being here once again.
Yeah, no problem. So, what have you been up to in the last 2 days since we last discussed things?
My partner actually had a gig last night, so that was really exciting. And we had a semi-famous guy come from America. I don't know if you've ever heard of a guy named Eugene Chadbourne.
I have not.
Yeah, I didn't actually hear about him either until last night, to be honest. But he's very experimental with guitar and banjo, and he was quite funny, actually.
That sounds like something I would actually quite enjoy. Since we're on the topic of music, what kind of music does your partner make?
Um, she doesn't really have a label with the kind of music she makes. She just creates whatever, but she does play guitar and also drums. But people, when they try and labelize her, it's kind of like pop folk kind of music.
Yep.
Or some people might look at it like experimental even. Yeah, so I guess that's the best answer.
So, kind of like one of my favorite musicians, City and Color. I will link you to them after this if you would like to check them out. I would definitely love to check your partner out if you're willing to share her music. And I'll even put the link to her music in the description and in a pinned comment for you if you are willing to do so.
Yeah, we could work something out. That's cool.
Awesome. So video game movies, what are your thoughts on them in general?
Uh well, I've seen, a fair share of movies, that are obviously game adaptations to film. And unfortunately, most of the ones I've seen are just plain old shit.
What ones have you
Um,
seen off the
well, I
top of your
know,
head?
yeah. So obviously, the recent one, like I mentioned in our previous podcast, I saw the Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Surprisingly, I thought that was a fairly faithful adaptation. And obviously, they had Scott Cawthon, the
Yeah.
developer of Five Nights at Freddy's, and he was like heavily on set, organizing like the plot of the movie, how it's all going to connect. And with him being heavily involved, I think that's why the Five Nights at Freddy's movie is perfect for Five Nights at Freddy's fans. So it's really good for the fan base, but it's still just like an average film for the general viewer. It's not a bad movie, but it's not amazing. It's sort of just one of those it gets the job done kind of films.
Hmm.
But that's yeah.
You mentioning that Cawthorn, I hope I said his name right, being so heavily involved, that reminded me of 1994's Interview with a Vampire. Anne Rice was actually the scriptwriter for that particular adaptation of Interview with a Vampire.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's interesting.
I'm a film buff.
Yeah, I know some film because I studied film and television in high school, but I'm still not like the biggest I guess big brain person for film in general, but I do know some things here and there.
Yeah. You're more of a cinema enjoyer than a cinema student.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously when I did study back in high school, film and television, we obviously were taught and trained to identify specific camera angles and things like leitmotifs with music in film. Just the more nitty-gritty parts that go into
The technical
filmmaking.
details.
Yes, technical. That's the word I was looking for.
I'm guessing that some of that education has been incredibly helpful to you on your YouTube journey thus far.
Well, yeah. I mean, it was kind of an origin point for video making, since we literally filmed our own student films and did all the editing. So that has definitely helped. Without that experience going back then, I don't even know if I would be here today doing YouTube stuff.
Mm-hmm. I kind of have a similar origin story, and I took it further and actually did journalism at college. And for the broadcasting program that I later went to, we had to make a documentary, and I kind of want to get back and redo that documentary properly when I can do it at my own pace. You know what I mean?
Yes, definitely.
Um, have you seen the Super Mario movie, by the way?
Yeah, I've seen it twice actually.
What did you think of it?
Oh, so I definitely have thoughts about it for both separate times. Clearly, being, as you know, a Nintendo guy, I was very excited about the movie. It was like one of the most hype lead ups to a video game adaptation movie. And I saw the movie first with my partner and also a friend of ours. And we saw it in 4D. So they had like the rocking chairs and the water spraying at your face. But I found the movie the first time I saw it, to me, I thought the movie was like a little bit too fast paced. They tried to cram too much in a short amount of time. And I'm someone who likes to digest my stories.
Yeah.
But I don't like super slow stories either. I like a good balance.
I get what
and
you
I
mean.
found, yeah. And I felt that like when I was watching the Mario movie for the first time, it was just like, each scene was almost just like 2 minutes each only. And then we're jumping to the next part. And you would expect like some type of progression, but it was just like literally, I guess it makes sense because they have the warp pipes in the Mushroom Kingdom, but we're literally like warping from point A to point B, then point D. But, I don't know. I'm just someone who prefers watching a movie and being able to digest what's even happening.
Yep.
So
I
it was
personally found the
yeah.
movie like a hyperactive kid on a sugar rush. That is the best way I could describe it.
Yeah, dude, honestly, that honestly encapsulates what that film was like. And I didn't know how to feel about it because I wanted to, again, take it all in, but I didn't have time. And then when I came out of the movie, I was like, what even happened?
Do you think that being the fact that you saw it in 4D caused you to feel more that sense than if you'd seen it as either 2D or 3D?
Oh, absolutely. Because I saw it the second time in 2D, so just seeing a movie regularly, and seeing it that second time, but also maybe because I had the prior knowledge of what to expect with the movie. In a way, I was kind of able to take in things I may not have even picked up on initially. So the second time watching it, I actually enjoyed the movie even more. And I bumped up the rating because I think I originally rated the movie a solid 7 because it was good. But then I think I bumped it up to about 7.5 after that, seeing it the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's
so we
my
have
thoughts.
we have very similar thoughts on it in general.
Yeah, it seems so.
I have seen the first Sonic movie. Really love that one.
The live action one?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good movie, actually. It's not too bad.
I actually liked Detective Pikachu as well.
Yes. Yeah, I've seen that one. Yeah.
I feel like video game movies, if they have people who are actually passionate about the IP working on them,
Yes.
then they're going to be good. But if they have just like some executive who's just trying to cash in on brand recognition, that's where you get problems. Like the original Super Mario movie.
I was literally just thinking about that movie. It was right in my head as right before you even going to mention it.
What did you think of the Prince of Persia movie, if you've seen that one?
Yes, I saw that. I'm just trying to think. That's like, that movie came out, what, nearly 15 years ago? Was it 12 years ago?
I think it came out in 2012-ish.
Okay, just over 10 years ago. All right, that makes sense.
2010,
yeah.
2010.
2010. Okay, so we're getting close to 15 years. That is terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did see it the once, and I saw it with an old schoolmate of mine, going back, during high school days. And yeah, I don't really remember too much about the movie except the fact that Jake Gyllenhaal was, the lead role, and they had some random guy doing comedic relief, and like he was playing with chickens and crap like that. That's all I really remember.
Mm-hmm. See, I didn't even remember the chicken detail. I remember I saw it in the theaters with my mom, and I actually liked it, and so did she. But
oh wow,
it wasn't like a particularly memorable movie to me.
No, like that's the thing. Because if it was, even if it's something I saw the first time and once only going back, I think if it was a fantastic movie, it like those memories would have stuck with me up until today.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the future is for video game movies? Do you think that we're going to start seeing more and more of them now that we have a couple of successful ones in the rearview mirror, so to speak?
I think they're definitely going to continue. And I also know there's the supposed Minecraft film which is coming out at some point. Maybe even, I don't know. Is it next year? It's meant to be coming out.
Let me look that up real quick. You can talk for about a minute.
Yeah. So I know that the Minecraft movie is coming out at some point. I think it is in development.
It is in
That
development and it's slated for 2025, and there are two big names already attached to it as actors.
Oh, who are the people going to be in the movie?
Jason Momoa and Pedro Pascal.
Oh my god, Jason Momoa. That'll be interesting. Okay.
It will be interesting, and they apparently have another actor named Matt Berry involved.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea who he is, but that's the third name that cropped up, and I was just like, probably a nobody.
Yeah, just like whoever they can afford for an adaptation that might flop.
Okay, so apparently he is an English actor and comedian.
Okay, well, anybody who is from the UK, they might know of him, maybe.
Oh, he was in the IT Crowd.
Oh, no, 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 wait a minute. Who did he play as in the IT Crowd?
Uh, I'll look that up on IMDb real quick.
Yeah, because I definitely like the IT Crowd. That show is hilarious.
I loved that show too.
It's so good.
I just like was kind of scrolling and then saw his name was in it, and I'm like, okay, that's worth mentioning.
Damn. So anyway, so the movie adaptations of video games,
He
uh,
played Douglas Renholm.
um, oh, wasn't Douglas like the really shitty son of like
Yeah.
the? Oh, he is hilarious. He is so funny.
Okay, now that I know who we've got involved, I'm kind of excited for the Minecraft movie.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I would definitely see it just for him alone. I hope he plays like as his, I guess, nationality. Like, I don't want him just putting on an American accent or some other accent. I want him to kind of just be him, like
Yeah,
his British self. Like, that would be
he,
absolutely brilliant.
he plays smarmy British dude very well.
He really does. And just, I don't know. Like, I know like some of the context in IT Crowd might be seen as like shameful these days with some of the theming. But honestly, man, like the humor in that show to
It
me
was
is
honest.
it was honest, and I think because of that honesty, that's what made it so funny. Because there was just so much sarcasm involved. Like they didn't really give two flying shits for the most part, and to me, honesty is key for like good humor. But
Same,
at the same time, like I respect boundaries for things, so I'm not completely cruel.
same.
But I feel like there needs to be a sense of freedom and flexibility for humor.
I don't know about you, but I definitely try to tame down my humor a little bit for content creation.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a tricky field, depending like what sense of humor you have, and if it's like too raunchy or like too offensive. Like you got to be really cautious about how much you're going to show that on the internet, I
Oh,
guess.
definitely. I would say that of like famous comedians that George Carlin is probably the closest in terms of my sense of humor.
Oh, okay.
Are you familiar with him?
Not really, actually. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I will send you his most famous bit after we're done recording because
Okay, that sounds like a plan.
I'll think you'll really like it. But George Carlin was known to be counterculture, and he would
Okay.
always make fun of the mainstream. That was like his big
Oh,
thing.
right, right. I
And
gotcha.
his biggest bit was the 7 words you can't say on TV and radio.
Oh, geez. I can really think of what one of those would be.
Exactly. And like by
Yeah.
today's standards, it's pretty tame, but it's kind of funny because you can now say most of those words on TV. Can't say them on radio, but you can say them on TV and shows.
Okay. That is
Keep in mind, this is like almost a 50-year-old bit now.
yeah, no, fair point, fair point.
Um,
Oh,
but anyways, for video game movies, I think that we're going to start seeing a lot of really interesting, really good projects, and I think Nintendo might actually be the one that'll push it forward the most. Them and Sega.
yeah, well, I mean, because at the start of the Mario movie, and I think it's been confirmed that Nintendo has created a Nintendo Pictures category within their department, and obviously they must have in mind that they want to do more films going forward for their IP.
Yep. I think
And
that Fire Emblem and Metroid are two of the best examples, or should I say, prime examples that they
I see what
could,
you did there.
yeah, that they could actually make movies out of.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because obviously the 3D animation is perfect for Mario because that we know what that's like live action going back to 1993.
Yep.
We can talk about that too in a sec. But yeah, I'm thinking like with Fire Emblem and Metroid, you could definitely do live action because funnily enough, I'm pretty sure Metroid is like loosely based off is it
Alien.
Alien? Yeah, Alien. Yeah.
Yep.
And Fire Emblem, like it's just, people with swords, medieval times, like everyone's a human, like there's some monsters, but you can get CGI for that. And you could kind of do like a, I don't know, like a Lord of the Rings or Game of Thrones-esque kind of series or film. And like, yeah, like it's hard to say if Nintendo will want to dabble in live action because that can be really, really cringe if not done properly. But yeah, I don't know. Like I can see them kind of just sticking to animation for the meantime.
What I would love to see for Fire Emblem is them doing it with an anime aesthetic because they could almost one for one transfer the art
True.
style.
Yeah, that would make sense. That would
And I
actually, yeah, that'd be ideal.
and I would really love to see Studio Ghibli take a shot at Fire Emblem the movie.
Okay. I know a lot of people want Studio Ghibli, like the art style, to more reflect a like Zelda series or a Zelda movie, especially because Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom do have some inspiration from some Studio Ghibli films. Like I think there's a lot of evidence there. And that would make a lot of sense, but at the same time, it depends if that's what Nintendo even has like as a vision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's interesting. Like I'm very curious about what the future holds for Nintendo films.
I personally think if they're doing a Zelda movie, that it would be better off to do that one live action because I feel like of their IPs, it and Metroid would be the ones that would be the easiest to adapt into that setting.
Yeah, because most of the characters, like actual characters, are humans.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then even with like in the Legend of Zelda, you've got the different races. Like there's the Zora, who are like the fish people, the Gorons, they're kind of like these rock people. And yeah, like that's just like you can get people, humans, like actual actors, and just base CGI around their, them, like they sort of do in Marvel movies for the bizarre races across the universe.
Yep.
So it's possible and it would definitely work. But I think the execution that needs to be focused on the most is actually getting good actors who have, excuse me, good direction, from Nintendo and whoever is actually directing the film. And, just fingers crossed that it can be pulled off well.
I agree.
Mm.
Like Charlie Day, he did a great job as Luigi in the Super Mario movie.
Oh, he was like, he's like fit for the role because Charlie Day always plays the typecast of the coward.
Yep.
And that's what Luigi is. And like the voice, like it just worked. It really, really worked so well. And it was hilarious.
I actually found that Charlie Day stole most of the scenes that he was in, and I was more compelled by his performance than I was by it was Seth Rogen who not Seth Rogen, sorry. He did Donkey Kong.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Chris Pratt. I didn't mind the voice that Chris Pratt used per se, but it kind of felt like Chris Pratt was just playing Chris Pratt in an animated movie.
Yeah, like I know he was trying to go for that Italian Brooklyn accent, but with a hint of himself in the film, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like because everybody was so worried about Chris Pratt being Mario. They're like, oh, like he doesn't know anything about Mario. You know, he's just like a really generic average guy. And sure, that's probably the case. But as long as I guess, you know, he did a half decent job, which he did, surprisingly, and I'm quite happy about that. But still, like, yeah, he was just sort of like you said, you could see that Chris Pratt was sort of just being Chris Pratt, and it wasn't too special. It's like really just sort of standard.
But like I said, Charlie Day stole all the scenes that he was in. Jack Black stole
Yeah.
all the scenes he was in. I actually think spin-off movies, maybe a Luigi's Mansion film.
Oh, dude, I'd be down for that. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that would be excellent. And maybe a movie about Bowser's origins. That could be really interesting as well.
Yes, because like Jack Black, he's so goddamn talented. He's got such an awesome vocal range. He's a fantastic singer, and I just think he was like the perfect Bowser. And Jack Black, he loves fire and he loves cool things, and like having him voice Bowser was
perfect.
Almost it was a match made in heaven.
I actually got into Jack Black because of School of Rock. How about you?
Oh geez, I'm trying to think about, because I do like him in School of Rock. Like that is a really good movie.
That was the first thing I ever saw him in, so I've got special memories with that movie.
Okay. Did you want to share any memories with that?
Well, it's kind of the reason I got into rock music. I was already kind of into it because that was what my parents kind of listened to. But
yeah,
the thing is, it was like, that was the aha moment where I was like, okay, I like how this sounds. I want to learn more about it.
Yes, and the light switch came on and you were hooked.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which then led me to seek out progressively more and more extreme versions of rock and roll.
Yeah, and like it is like a rabbit hole. Like once you get the taste of that goodness, you just keep going deeper and deeper through the iceberg, and there's just so much discovery that you never expected was in that field.
I feel like School of Rock and Guitar Hero are probably a big factor in why a lot of people in our generation like rock music.
Yeah, I can see that. Definitely. By the way, sorry about the background noise. If there's anything coming through the mic, I do apologize.
I'm not hearing anything, so you're good.
Okay, awesome.
Also, my editor does a sound pass anyways, so...
Okay, sweet.
Yeah. For the Rage video, which is done, it's just waiting to be, like, made public. Your audio's a little bit but that's just because, like, there was an echo that we couldn't quite edit out.
Oh, shit. Yeah, because the mic I'm using now, how clear am I with this current mic?
Insanely clear.
Okay, that's good. Because for like all the collaborations and my own videos of recent times, I've been relying on a really shitty portable mic.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I do apologize if there's been any tinniness with previous collaborations. So going forward, now they've actually got this microphone set up and it's working, because I was kind of intimidated because last time I tried it wasn't responding. But now that I've got it set up, I'm like, well, fuck it. Like, let's just go with this because this is clearly the better option.
What mic did you get?
Oh, it's a really sort of like crappy Australian brand. I don't even know the name of the brand. It's I think it's called Nextech, but it's a subsidiary of a retail store here in Australia called J-Car. And yeah, like they focus on electronics, and they do have some high-end products they sell, but those high-end products are literally third-party products, whereas their in-house products are hit and miss.
Well, this one is fairly good. I haven't noticed too much echo or distortion or anything.
Okay, awesome. Well, I will definitely focus on using this mic for future audio recording.
I will link you to something that is going to help get your audio even clearer. We can thank Chicken Fillets for this one.
Oh, nice. Okay.
It's a website within Adobe's family. It's in beta.
Right. Okay.
And it uses AI to remove background noise, pips and pops and all that other bad stuff.
Okay, I would be down for that because I'm all about quality.
And it's free.
Awesome, even better.
Yeah. What do you think of the sound of my mic overall?
Dude, like you've had some of the clearest audio, like out of everyone I've watched, you, Chicken Fillets, Retromania, you've got one of the clearest mics.
Do you want to know what mic I'm using?
Yeah, tell me, what is it?
The AKG Lyra.
Oh, okay. How much did that set you back by?
I'll type it to you in Discord.
Okay, awesome. Sweet. Too easy.
Also, since Canadian to Australian is almost 1 for 1, you don't have to worry about that.
Wait, is it really?
Yeah, our dollars are pretty much at parity.
Oh, that is so convenient.
Like literally, it'll fluctuate within 1 to 3 cents, sometimes 10 cents per whatever.
Yeah. Well, that's not too bad. I guess we should.
There you go.
Oh, you sent it through, did you?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Oh, that's affordable. Okay,
Yeah.
$200. Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, it's a USB mic.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, let's get back to movies.
Yes.
I love how we go down rabbit holes when we're.
Oh, it's great. It's a good conversation when that happens.
Yep. What is the worst video game adaptation movie you've seen to date?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Because I'm also like the other thing that's coming to mind is like adaptions of like other pop culture, like anime. I
Yep.
know that's a different thing, but still, I'm just trying to think for video games. I know there is something I saw and I was like, that was fucking atrocious, but I can't think off the top of my head what that was.
It was so bad you've blocked it out of your memory for trauma reasons, right?
Yeah, I would say so. And but what I could say is another sort of recent game movie I've seen, and I'm sure you would have seen it, was the Uncharted movie.
Yes, I actually liked it.
Yeah, I didn't think it was too bad. I did feel it was a little bit more on the generic side, but that was because I think they were playing it safe.
Yep.
And it did work because there was like no other extra strings attached where it was like, oh, hang on, like, let's be concerned about this. And I definitely felt that like it was a solid movie.
Yeah, it was a very solid movie. I actually liked Mark Wahlberg as Sully. I'm not a big fan of Tom Holland as Drake, but that's because I don't feel he's quite the right archetype.
I don't think so either. I feel like he's just like one of those people who's always going to be eternally young.
Yeah.
And he's kind of got that baby face, and him being typecasted as Spider-Man doesn't help either.
I feel like we're going to see when Tom Holland's like 40-ish. I think that's when he's really going to like break the mold that he's currently in.
Yeah, so he's got quite a few years ahead of him.
Mm-hmm. I think there will be a time where like he'll be completely out of acting in the mainstream, at least.
Yeah,
because of that.
Yeah.
And then when he hits like his late 30s, early 40s, he'll make a resurgence, and people will be like, "Who's this guy?"
And he has a complete biological makeover, like facial hair and scars and all that crap.
Yep. But I didn't really care for him as Drake. I still enjoyed his performance because he's a good actor, but I felt like he was a little bit too much of a straight man, because I can tell that they didn't want to show some of his more quippy side, because that would start getting him close to Spider-Man territory.
Yeah, I agree, definitely.
I feel like Nathan Drake, they could have gone the young route, which they did obviously with Tom Holland, but I feel like if they cast someone kind of in our age bracket, that would have been the better option.
Yeah, I agree, because like I just felt like he's just like too young for the role. Like that's my opinion. I know they're kind of going for that, like backstory.
This is his first adventure.
Yeah, but like it just didn't feel right. I felt like they should have went with someone who resonates better with how Nathan Drake actually appears in the games. Like, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
I
definitely.
don't know, like he wasn't terrible, but he was just like, I don't know if he was the guy to pick.
Also, I was constantly waiting for the sci-fi twist, because as you know, in the Uncharted games, that is like the big draw, is what crazy thing is going to be attached to the MacGuffin.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I was like, oh, they didn't even do that.
No, not at all.
And maybe they
Um,
were trying to subvert expectations with that. I'm not sure.
maybe, yeah, that's a possibility.
And I hope that in the next movie, because you saw the post-credit scene, right?
I did, but I don't remember. I have terrible memory.
Basically, it looks like they're going to be introducing El Dorado, which was like the treasure of the first game,
Oh, that's right. Yep, yep.
because they introduced Gabriel Roman and Navarro,
Mm, yeah,
and they were the villains of the first game.
that's right. My memory's
So,
so hazy, it's terrible.
oh, I know what you mean, man. Um,
Yeah.
but like I feel like if they're when they do Uncharted 2, the movie, they really need to actually make it closer to the source material a little bit.
I agree. And hopefully those are improvements that they can pick up on and are consciously aware of, because then I think that would definitely increase the quality of the franchise at in the film genre. And yeah, that would be just really cool if they improved upon that.
Definitely. Also, I would love to see them do more artistic shots where there's more out of focus elements, because this is something that I noticed while I was watching it. They used
Mm.
deep focus almost exclusively.
Oh, did they?
Yeah. So they had like an extreme depth of field where everything was super, super sharp. And
Okay.
that
Yeah.
works, but it also feels kind of the samey if they're not doing some more artistic things with it.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Like, because even movies from like when we were teenagers, even if they were romantic comedies, they were still including some artistically inspired close-ups with out of focus elements.
Yeah.
And that's something I just really miss, is that aesthetic. And I blame Marvel to a large degree for it, because they focus on deep focus because they're using so many CGI shots.
Yeah, especially in what was it, Ant-Man 3, the one where they go to the quantum universe and everything's just it's almost like the movie didn't even know what identity it was trying to go for.
I haven't seen that particular one, but the thing is, after Endgame, I kind of was like, yeah, I need a break.
Same. Yeah, I haven't been hooked on these newer Marvel films, and I just feel like it's just they're getting more run of the mill and expected and the same gags, and it's just I don't know. I just feel like the quality isn't there for Marvel films anymore.
The last one I watched was Doctor Strange 2.
I didn't mind that.
I liked that one a lot because that one they did do a lot of artistic shots, and I can say Sam Raimi's involvement was very obvious.
Yeah, that was, yeah, that was a pretty enjoyable watch, and that was the one where they were like dimension hopping, basically, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it was.
Yeah, and that was fun. Like it was fun for like a adventure roller coaster kind of sense.
Yep.
And yeah, like I do like Benedict Cumberbatch. But yeah, yeah, I don't know.
But
I guess we can.
The last Marvel movie I enjoyed before that was actually Thor Ragnarok.
So I know we're running out of time. We might actually have to make this an hour-long episode at this point.
That's fine. That's fine.
Okay, awesome. But I can give you a fun bit of trivia about Ragnarok if you want.
Yeah, go for it.
So, you know how Thor, what's his name? Oh, this is terrible of me, and I'm Australian. What's his
Chris
name?
Hemsworth.
Yes. So,
And his brother is going to be Geralt in The Witcher going forward.
yes, I did hear about that. So Chris Hemsworth, I think from memory, he is born and lived in the same state as I do in Australia, which is Queensland. And yeah, anyway, so when they're doing Thor Ragnarok, they filmed quite a large chunk of that movie in the Gold Coast in Queensland, which
That's
is
really
down.
cool.
Yeah, that's essentially another city an hour away from where I live in, which is Brisbane. And yeah, they actually came up to Brisbane. This is going back in what year was it? I think 2016 they were filming. So they did most of the filming on the Gold Coast, and then they came up to Brisbane to do a few scenes in the city streets. And they actually boarded off the area that they were using to film. And me, a friend of mine, and his partner at the time, we actually went into the city to see Chris Hemsworth in the flesh,
That is
legitimately.
awesome.
Just yeah. And I was like, well, I mean, he is Australian, so we're probably going to see him at some point.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it was just really cool, like seeing an actual movie set in my home city. And I don't know if I've like exposed too much about where I live, but fuck it, it's too late. Whatever.
I'll say this. It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2 filmed in my city, and they actually had the mansion built up on a lot within my city.
Really? Because I love, okay, I don't know if I love, but I do like that reboot for it. Like the one they did back in, was it 2017?
I haven't seen it yet, but I've been meaning to watch it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Because I thought that movie was a lot of fun. Like that was pretty epic, but I have not seen the sequel of these reboots essentially.
If you ever see the reboot, you'll have to tell me what you think of it.
Yes, definitely. It is on my like film watch to-do list, so I will have to get around to it at some point.
Hey, maybe you could become a guest contributor on the movie channel that I'm about to launch.
Honestly, man, like I am more than happy to watch films. I mean, I do watch films, but I'm talking about I'm happy to maybe like watch films for a more, I guess, what's the word I'm looking for? Like review approach.
Mhm.
So yeah, maybe that's something we could line up for sure.
Awesome. So we've got about 2 minutes left, so we will take a 10-minute break and then we will come back.
Awesome.
And the recording has started, so we'll get back into it. Okay, guys, we have fed the Zoom arcade machine its quarter, and we're going to get back into the discussion. Welcome back to Upper Nimbus.
Hey guys, I'm up in Nimbus.
So, what were we kind of discussing when we were forced to stop the recording?
I think we were just at the end cusp of, was it Marvel movies?
We had discussed that, and you had mentioned how you actually saw Chris Hemsworth in person. And then I mentioned that
Yes.
it was filmed in my city.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's very interesting that I guess we both had opportunities to see film sets unfold.
Here's something that's pretty cool. My area of Canada is actually known as Hollywood North.
Really?
Yeah, because here's the thing. Way, way back, the government actually introduced tax bills that made it way cheaper for cinema to produce movies out here than in actual Hollywood. So back then, a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
companies would just be like, eh, it's a generic North American city. It works.
It gets the job done.
Yeah. So I had meant to ask you, why do you think there is this so-called video game movie curse? I have my own theories, but I'd love to hear yours.
Oof. I haven't had much time to think about it, unfortunately, but I don't know. Like, I think that thing you mentioned earlier made a lot of sense where maybe in the initial days of the game adaptation movies, there would be directors who would look at a branding like Mario or something else that was trending, and all they really saw were like dollar signs in their eyes. So
Mm-hmm.
instead of actually having the proper knowledge on the source material, they're like, oh, let's look at this name, let's look at this character, and let's chuck him in a film setting and apply whatever fucking plot we want to apply. And I'm wondering if that definitely had a big part to do with it.
I feel like it does. Also, I feel like video games were still in their infancy at that point, so they weren't trying to tell actual compelling stories. They just kind of were like, we just got to get something that is serviceable to service the mechanics and not service telling an actual competent story. And I know that there were some games way back when that definitely told great and competent stories. It's just video games had not come of age. They hadn't really had their moment in the sun where they were actually focusing on the narrative more than anything else. Now, Japanese RPGs and RPGs in general, they were kind of the cutting edge in terms of that. But I would say that it took until Metal Gear really for us to get our first true cinematic movie like game.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel so dumb that that's not even a thought that has popped into my head. But now that you've laid it out, I'm like, oh yeah, like that's something that I could have thought of at some point, but I just didn't.
No need to feel stupid over it. It's just like that kind of came to me when I was having a bout of insomnia, which I am experiencing again.
Oh geez, I'm so sorry, man.
It's fine. It means that we're getting to record. So anytime I've gotten
Exactly.
insomnia, I will just be like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? We'll come up with something.
Works for me, man. Works for me.
Because honestly, I'd love to have like a sub podcast going where it's just us on my channel.
Yeah, man. I am down for like I love doing these collaborations, and I never thought I would be here in the same year, essentially taking YouTube a little bit more seriously, that I would make all these awesome connections, you know, with you and Chicken Fillets and everybody else, and just doing collaborative works. It's just something I have, you know, it's unforeseen and it's awesome, and I'm really enjoying it, and I am more than happy to continue working together.
Same here. And you know what? It's because of Chicken Fillets that I actually found your content.
Likewise. And I just want to say this, and this is something I'll definitely be telling John at some point, is I feel like with like the small content creator community, like of the people we know, to me, I feel like John's in the middle and everyone's kind of like revolving around him, like, you know, orbiting around him. I feel like he's got this, there's something about him. He's got this charisma that just connects everybody together.
I would say it's the Scottishness.
It might be like he just stands out so much. People like, oh, well, he's a bit of a fancy chap. You know, let's check him out.
Yep. What would you say my kind of role is?
on YouTube?
Yeah. Since John's kind of the one who like gets everyone together and kind of glues us, so to speak.
Yes.
He's the glue guy.
Definitely, yeah. Well, I would say, like I've mentioned to you before in like our private discussions, like your ability, like you've got this knack for professionalism, and that obviously dates back to your journalism that you used to do. And I feel like you can go really, really far. Having these professional, you know, ideas in mind for podcasts and discussions, but also you've got this flexibility to keep conversation flowing and able to think on the spot. And I think that's fantastic because that's a really powerful form of, you know, like, fuck, I can't even get my words together. but basically, I think you're really good at what you're doing. And I can see you just getting better and better as time goes on.
And I could say the same for you. I feel like you're a very natural born storyteller.
I do like my stories, yeah.
I think that you could actually go far if you started incorporating that more and more into your YouTube content, because I've been watching vidIQ on like how to grow YouTube channels.
Yeah.
And they said that one of the biggest and best assets you can have is being a storyteller. So maybe start telling more stories within your list videos and stuff.
Oh, that's really interesting you say that, because like one of the recent collaborations I did, he's a smaller guy, like smaller than us. His name is like his YouTube handle is Frames. I don't know if you've seen him through Chicken Fillets.
I think I have, yes.
Yeah, it's like his channel is spelled FR, and then the A is the N symbol. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he did a collaboration recently that I was a part of along with John, and it was gaming memories like from, you know, our childhood and our past. And that was a really good opportunity to have a story to tell for like a personal gaming experience. And I had chosen the Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask because there was very obvious memories that I could vividly recall. And it was so much fun talking about and putting together because a lot of it came naturally.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, like I do like storytelling. I know like I'm very guilty of talking a little bit too much.
Well, I'm encouraging you to do that.
Okay, excellent. Well, yes, it definitely perpetuates the conversation. That's for sure.
And it also means that I can then start like looking up things while you're talking and have more discussion points.
Yes, exactly.
That actually makes me think of two projects I want you involved with. I think I've told you about them before, but my memory's foggy. So if I haven't, I had been meaning to invite you for a while now. So
Okay,
take no offense over getting lost in the shuffle. That's just my
that's okay.
brain being loopy. So the other one of them is JRPGs that left us emotional wrecks.
Yep, I could do that.
Awesome. If you can get that recorded within the next 10 days, that would be
Oh,
awesome for
okay.
me.
Yeah, I'll add it to the list.
And the other one, which is going to be a Christmas Eve special. So, like, this is a hard deadline. I'm not pushing it back. If people don't get their files in,
Yeah,
they
especially if
can.
it's a Christmas themed video.
It's not a Christmas themed video exactly, but I feel
Okay.
like it works for Christmas Eve, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
It's
Okay.
going to
Yep.
be video games that had a significant impact on us.
Okay, cool. Yes, well, I am definitely interested in both of those.
Okay. The hard deadline for that one is December 1st. Anything after that, not being taken.
Okay, so just send that through the Discord chat,
Yep.
like with the details, and I can start brainstorming.
I'm typing it up now. You can grab it on if you
Oh,
would like.
okay, cool. Okay, so rambling on. What were we talking about? Oh, man, again, the rabbit hole. I'm like literally forgetting about what we were saying 2 minutes ago.
It's okay.
Oh, I wanted to bring up the 1993 Mario Brothers movie.
Go for
So
it.
that is, we all know it's a bad movie. Like, it's not a good movie at all. But it's one of those cases where the movie is so bad, it becomes good.
I know what you mean.
And yeah, and it's like, I would say it's taken time to pass by for people to reflect back on that movie who obviously saw it when it first came out and at some point during the 90s. And I would say that it's just something that grows on people. Like it creates a sense of nostalgia for obvious reasons. It's got the Mario branding, even though it doesn't really portray Mario Brothers well whatsoever.
Also, if you
But
think of it like a really dumb comedy, it somehow becomes excellent at that point.
yeah, like how like they might have trying to be like really serious with some parts of a film, and then it's so cringy that it becomes genuine comedy. And obviously, one of the best examples I can think of is The Room with Tommy Wiseau.
A movie I have yet to see, but one I've been meaning to.
Yes, I've only seen the once, but I do remember a healthy dose of the memes, and it is so funny. Like because he's crazy. I don't know what's up with Tommy Wiseau, and the thing is, like he just came out of nowhere. Like he just like rocked up in the United States at some point in the past, and nobody even really knows his proper origins. He's just like this weird, washed up, like drunkard guy from like Europe somewhere.
We sure he's not an eldritch horror at this point in time?
Oh fuck! I would not be surprised. I would not put it past him.
I thought of that because I've been watching The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, and basically, before Netflix canceled the series, eldritch horrors became the big bads.
Oh, okay, interesting. Oh, I like the sound of that.
It's a very good series. If you have fond memories of Sabrina the Teenage Witch, do not go in expecting that. I will just tell you that much.
Yeah, well, I have very, very vague memories of the original Sabrina, but
I'll be honest,
Melissa
Joan Hart was one of my first crushes that I remember for celebrity crushes, so
I do not blame you, dude. I do not blame you.
And the other one that I can remember from when I was really young was the actress who played Daphne from Frasier.
Oh, I remember Frasier, but
I actually watched Frasier way too young, if I'm being honest. I didn't get most of the humor, but I laughed, and I liked it because Eddie.
Oh, Eddie the dog.
Yeah,
classic Eddie.
You can really see the Frasier influence on my humor, though, can't you?
How it's a little bit dry here and there.
Yeah,
but it's good.
One of my friends actually noted not long ago that I dress like Niles quite frequently, which my YouTube community won't quite know because I'm a faceless channel.
Well, at least on YouTube, but I know sometimes you've had your face on camera for Twitch. Is
I
that right?
always I always have my face on camera for Twitch. I'll tell
Okay,
you
cool.
why I don't show my face on YouTube, and it's gonna sound like a crazy reason, but
Yeah,
I write my scripts, they're quite detailed, and I read
yeah.
off the script for my more presented videos, and if I'm on camera, my stutter comes out.
Is it sort of like a thing where mentally you like when the camera's rolling, you feel like people are watching you live almost?
Yeah,
And because you're trying to have this professional like one take, you can't do it.
correct. And even without the even just doing audio, I still fumble quite often.
Yeah, it's tricky, man, because to be able to convey what you want to create, whether it is just audio or video, and if because I'm definitely an amateur, that's for sure. But like if we're amateur content creators, and uh, you know, whether we're recording, like I said, whether it's audio or with video, like it always happens when I'm in front of the camera and I'll like get like really anxious and excited about what I want to talk about. And it's this really weird blend of feeling good but feeling scared. And even though I know nobody is actually seeing me live, I still think, fuck, I'm being watched.
I know exactly what you mean. I am curious, how
Yeah.
often do you notice my stutter coming through?
Um, to honestly, like I feel like it's very minimal. I do notice it here and there, but I don't think it hinders your content creation. Like at least at this point in time, I don't think it's something that's so detrimental where you're indecipherable with what you're talking about, because it's just a little bit here and there, but I don't think it's that bad.
Yeah, it's more of a repetitive stutter, so you've probably noticed me repeating a word here and there or a sound.
Yeah, yeah. But like, you know what? I still tune in and I get the message that you're, trying to get across,
Yep,
and I get immersed in what you're talking about.
it's gotten a lot better with age. My stutter, it used to be quite close to Birdie from The King's Speech, who was a real person, obviously, but that's how
Yeah.
most people will know of King George.
Yeah.
Have you seen that movie, by the way?
No, I have not.
Okay, I will plan a movie night some night and we'll watch it in my Discord.
Dude, that would actually be a lot of fun.
I actually really want to do Discord nights in my server more. Like, I've not done one yet, but I really want to do
Yeah.
them
Would that
because
be, sorry, I was just going to say, would that be where, like, would you be recording that audio, or like, because I'm wondering, like, if we'd be discussing while we're watching?
what I kind of plan on doing is we watch the movie. We
Yeah.
have our mics silenced, but we
Okay.
have like a chat room that's dedicated just for the movie. And then
Okay.
people who want to, after the movie is done, can hop in my Discord and we just all like hang out and chat about the movie and about other things in general. That's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
It's not creating content around it. It's just, hey, community, let's come together and chill.
I do like that. And the good thing is, especially getting into a discussion right after the movie, because it is so fresh. Like it'd be so much easier to discuss it, like with it being immediately like at the forefront of our minds.
Yep.
So that would be really cool. That I think that'd be a lot of fun.
Also, that movie has connections to Australia because of Jeffrey Rush.
Yes. I've got a
But
story about Jeffrey Rush.
hang on, let me just say this before you continue. Also, the
Sure.
real Lionel Logue was Australian, so
Oh, there you go. Wow, it's too close for comfort sometimes, I swear to God.
okay, you can now share the Jeffrey Rush story.
Okay, basically, it's not too much of a story, but Jeffrey Rush was also a Brisbane kid growing up. So
I can
I
tell
checked.
because your accents are very closely keyed.
Yeah. Okay. I know I'm like detracting from what I'm talking about, but I've just got to quickly say this, dude. I've had so many people say to me, "Oh, are you British? Like, do you come from the UK?" And I'm like, "No, like I'm Australian. Like, can't you tell my accent?"
The thing is, I
And
would say that the Brisbane accent, it has more of a British sound to it. it's not identical, but I can understand why people would get it confused.
I guess, but see, the thing is, because I live in the state of Queensland, we're like most people who live in Queensland have what's called the broad Australian accent, and that is your stereotypical Steve Owen. Oh, crikey, g'day, mate. Let's go tackle some crocodiles. Uh, so like people, a lot of people who live in Queensland are meant to have that. It's not that we're meant to have it, but there's a lot of people within this state that do have that broad accent, especially up north, which is where I went for my holiday recently. And also, I think the Northern Territory, there's a bit of a broad Australian accent, but the British, because there actually is what you would call a British Australian accent. It's the sophisticated Australian accent.
Yeah.
And that's the people who live like the southern part of Australia. So that is literally the state of South Australia, and also some people in Victoria, and then especially in the state of Tasmania, which is an island.
Now I'm just picturing Taz from Looney Tunes with a very posh accent.
Well, yeah, because he is based off the Tasmanian devil, which comes from, well, Tasmania.
Also, here's a fun fact for you, since we can tie this back into video games.
Yes.
Crash Bandicoot would be Australian.
Yes, he would be, because bandicoots.
Yep. I actually have an Australian friend who rescued a couple of bandicoots, and she keeps them as pets.
No way, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's actually really wholesome.
She said that it's kind of like having a differently shaped bunny in terms of a pet.
Oh, that is so cool. I'll have to get myself one.
They basically just sleep all the time.
Oh, that's easy to deal with.
Yeah, and then they eat fruit and veg and bugs.
Perfect. Hell yeah. Oh, sorry. I should probably I'll finish off the Jeffrey Rush thing.
Yes.
So yeah, basically, yeah, he grew up in the same city as me. And funny thing is, the high school he went to, I'm like a 10-minute drive from.
That is cool.
Yeah. So and then they actually have a schoolhouse called the Rush House. And yeah, obviously it's based off his name.
That is cool. Also, speaking of Rush, because you triggered this in my brain. Rush is was a Canadian band.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Are you familiar with their music?
Not at all. I'm so sorry.
I am going to send you a whole crap ton of stuff then once we end this stream. I mean, yeah, not stream. I meant podcast
discussion. Yeah, that's it. I have a lot of backlog to look through then.
Yep. I forgot what I was going to say. Damn it.
My bad.
No, it's fine. That was just my brain going derp. I would say part of the reason the Sonic movies have done so well is because of Jim Carrey, though.
Oh, dude, absolutely. I really love Jim Carrey as an actor and his acting range. He is literally, to me, he's like a walking cartoon. Like his existence, his physical existence, it's like, how is that possible?
Yep. It actually reminds me of a character that he did on a show called In Living Color called Fire Marshal Bill.
It's ringing a bell.
I will link you to a couple of those skits later on.
Awesome. More links.
But basically, a lot of the mannerisms that Jim displays as Dr. Robotnik, he's copying from a character that he used to do for a TV show. And the thing is, he's basically an immortal fire marshal. And
that is so cool.
He's all fucked up looking because he's all scarred from all of the various burns he's sustained over his... Yeah. Honestly, he's like an unkillable zombie. That's the best way I can describe it. Only a zombie with brains.
Yeah. That's kind of like, isn't Deadpool kind of like that in a way?
Yeah, yes. But basically,
similar.
I remember watching this when I was like first discovering how to use the internet, because my mom was like, oh yeah, Jim Carrey used to creep me out because of this character. I looked it up, and even I was creeped out when I was like 13 or 14.
Oh my God.
Because like, it's Jim Carrey turned up to 11.
Jesus, because just Jim Carrey alone is intense as it is.
Yeah, this is like what he does is he's like he's making himself have like a massive overbite as well. So he looks like
Oh
he's
God.
constantly smiling, and it's like Joker smile.
Oh
It's just
God.
so unnerving. And like
Oh, how
he's
horrifying.
and you've probably noticed that he overbites a little bit with Dr. Robotnik as a character, haven't you?
Oh, dude. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So like imagine that turned up to 11. That is like you can see that he informed his Robotnik picks from his former character, and it's like sometimes Robotnik actually unnerves me because I'm like, oh god, Fire Marshal Bill memories, they're coming back.
Fucking hell. I'll have to check this out.
Definitely. Um, what do you see as the kind of future for Sonic movies?
I'm a little bit worried about the third movie because we know that the third one is in production. Uh the reason why I'm worried is because I really want Jim Carrey to continue acting and being Dr. Eggman, but he's like talked about, oh, I'm going to retire and not, act anymore. And I know at some point, yes, that will have to happen,
Because
but
Jim's old.
yeah, he's getting there. But I feel like you can't just drop out during at least a trilogy for the Sonic
Yeah.
movies. And especially like how he's physically progressing to look more and more like Dr. Robotnik.
Yep.
I want to see that egg belly. I want to see it on Jim, and I want to see him have that gruff Dr. Eggman accent. And I want to see it so badly. And I know he could pull it off because he's done a fantastic job so far.
Same. So I sent you one video of In Living Color.
Okay.
And you'll see like the overbite I was talking about and just how fucked up Jim's face is when he's playing that character.
Do you want me to look at that now?
Yeah, just look at the thumbnail. Don't watch the video yet.
Oh my God. Okay, that I can see why you would have been creeped out when you were younger.
Yeah. And even when I'm as a 33-year-old man, I'm like, okay, this is a little bit hard to watch.
Yeah, it's like it is uncanny, and it's almost like you could feel sick just visually looking at that.
Yep.
Jesus.
What are some movies or games you would like to see made into movies in the future? That was what I was trying to remember before we went down the Jim Carrey rabbit hole.
Yeah.
Hey, at least it made for a good discussion.
It did. It really did. I'm just trying to think. I know because you know how there's the Halo TV series?
Yeah, I haven't watched it, but I know of it.
It's that's definitely controversial because it's kind of like here's the Halo branding, but we're going to put our own story into it and really avoid having CGI effects and battle scenes. So yeah, that's a bit annoying. But anyway, so what I wanted to mention about with Halo is I remember like when I first fell in love with that series, I was like, oh my God, could you imagine a movie for Halo? Like that'd be so cool. And then there was like rumblings back in, I think it was like the mid 2000s, they're looking at producing a Halo movie. And it was, I don't know if it's all true, but there's all these connections that, the movie District 9?
Yes, I love that movie.
Yeah, that movie is awesome. So apparently District 9 is the end result of what the Halo movie was going to be.
That would have been really fucking cool.
Yeah, because I think was it Neil Blomkamp that was the director?
Blomkamp, yeah.
Yeah.
Blomkamp, yeah.
So he
have you seen Gran Turismo yet, by the way?
The film?
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
It's excellent.
Okay, that's a game adapted movie that I would have to check out then.
Yeah, I saw it in IMAX, so worth it.
Oh fuck, that sounds hype.
It was. I'll say that like there were a couple times where I was like a little bit annoyed because they made the graphics a little bit too close to the game for like the HUD, basically.
Yeah.
So like it on a massive screen like that, it's kind of blurry and a little bit hard to read. And it was clearly vital information they were trying to convey.
Oh,
so
man.
It was like I had to go like super squinty on it. Like that meme of that one guy squinting at a piece of paper?
Was it Dr. the bloody teacher from Community?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, that was literally me, and my friend was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" And I'm like, "I can't see the fucking display."
And that's obviously with you wearing your glasses as well.
Yeah,
Oh, geez, that's saying something.
I don't have the
Oh.
strongest prescription in the world. I know I'm not that fucking blind,
I'm definitely getting there, that's for sure.
but it's like, fuck, I can't see that. And I can only imagine what it's going to be like on a small screen at home.
Oh God, it would literally be borderline impossible
It
from
was
what you're telling
borderline
me.
it was borderline impossible at the theater.
Then nobody who wants to watch it from home is going to have a chance.
Unless they have like beyond 2020 vision.
Yeah, that's going to be something.
Or who knows, maybe shrunk down it'll be sharper.
Maybe, who knows?
But either way, worth watching that film.
Yeah, well, it would be something like I'm not really a car guy, but the fact that it is just a game movie, like I'd be like, okay, I'll see that. Like just
I'll
for
I'll tell you this. The cars are kind of a focus, but it's more about uh the story of the guy.
okay.
It's a very character driven piece.
Well, they would kind of need to do that because I mean, how else are you gonna drive a narrative if you don't even have a main character to focus on?
Yeah. Well, it's about like a guy who won the Gran Turismo Academy.
Okay.
And basically it's his story. It's really good.
Okay.
Um, I wish they'd done a little bit more with it, but
Yeah.
I understand why.
Yeah.
And it's just like, if you like cars, you're going to get a lot from this movie. If you like really emotional narratives, you'll get a lot from the movie. And if you're a watch guy like me, you will get a lot from this movie because Orlando Bloom's character, who is an amalgamation of a few characters or real
Yep.
people, he
Okay.
wears a Tag Heuer Monaco caliber 11 watch.
Really?
Yeah. And that is so cool because that particular watch has a ton of history in the automotive industry.
Okay. So there was a very conscious decision.
Yeah, like whoever was doing the props for this movie, they fucking knew.
That is so cool.
I'm going to get a picture of that watch so that you can actually take a look at it.
Yep. I
And
mean,
it's like this is the exact model that Orlando Bloom was wearing on his wrist during that movie.
right.
I
Okay.
sent
I'm
you
going to
the
open
link.
the link. Yeah.
And you'll see what I mean by that is a very distinct looking watch. Like there's nothing else like it on the market.
Oh my God. I've never seen anything like that.
Exactly. And it's a beautiful fucking watch.
Dude. And I love the colors on it. Like the navy blue
Yep.
face with the red hands.
And it's because it has that color scheme because of one of the races in Monaco.
Well, that makes a lot of sense.
So as you can see, that watch has a lot of history within automotive racing.
Yeah, yeah. Wow, that
And it
oh
was
yeah,
actually designed to time the laps of cars. That's what its function was because they didn't have computers back in the day.
yeah.
So drivers would wear these when they were timing their laps.
Nice. That is awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
So back to games we want to see converted to movies.
Yes. Um yeah, I was just sort of mentioning how District 9 was sort of the end result of a failed Halo movie, and they had to, I believe, change the plot to fit something that was original. But you can see some of the influence, like especially with
Prawn,
the fucking hey.
the prawn, the aliens.
Yes, because they, to me, they really resemble the drone covenant in Halo 2.
I can definitely see it.
Yeah, and I'm like, they're just drones. Like they're the fucking drones from Halo 2.
Well, they even refer
Um,
to them at like certain ones as being drones as well.
exactly. So there's definitely connections there, and obviously being alien sci-fi. Um, yeah. So, and I know in the end that we got the Halo series, but fuck, it took them ages to do anything live action for Halo, and
It didn't do
yeah, that
well.
it I think it did well for like viewership, but it didn't do well receptively.
That's what I meant.
Yeah, and we get to see Master Chief's ass.
Well, I bet
his cheeks on screen. Yeah,
I bet certain audience members love that.
Yeah, I can think of a couple of demographics. Yep.
Trying to be PC, both of us here.
Yeah, just a little bit, even though I have been swearing half the time. But
I mean, we both swear, and I don't care.
Yeah, like me neither. Like, I know I don't swear too much on my own channel. I actually dropped the F-bomb a few times in my early videos, but I've kind of like
toned it
down.
Not
that I don't. Yeah, it's not that I don't want to swear. It's just that I'm trying to be a little bit more cautious and conscious of, you know, new subscribers that come in. But I don't want to keep things like completely PG. Like, I want to have some fun with, you know, some naughty humor here and there.
I think you probably were surprised the first time you heard me drop multiple F-bombs in a video.
A little bit, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what? It really suits, like, especially your rant videos, because if anyone's doing a rant, you have to drop the F-bomb. Like, you have to be honest with your language.
I'm curious, out of all of my rant videos, which one has been your favorite to date? Because I know you've watched a couple of them now.
I would say that recent Microsoft one was pretty funny.
You could tell I was just, you know what? Fuck it. I'm stepping on people's feet on this one. Don't care.
Yeah. And like Microsoft, like, they just keep shooting themselves in the foot. Like, I just feel like they just terrible business practice. Like, honestly, it's just fucking crap.
Also, I've got a new rant video that'll be coming out next week.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because a lot of people commented on that Microsoft video that I was way too negative in my viewpoint. So that I only support exclusives if they're for Sony, which is not the case. And basically, I'm addressing that. And I'm not sure if you're a fan of wrestling at all or not.
Unfortunately not. It's just not my cup of tea.
I'm not super big into wrestling, but for inspiration for my rant videos, I look at how various heel wrestlers do their promos.
Right.
And I've come across one that I particularly enjoy named Damian Sandow.
Okay.
And basically he had like this whole I'm this really smart guy and I'm here to enlighten all of you dumb plebs. Like, that was kind of his gimmick.
Yeah.
And I kind of emulated that a little bit in the rant video.
Okay, cool. Well, I am definitely looking forward to that because, I'll always like watch your videos and I'll leave a comment. Even if, you know, sometimes I might not understand everything that's happening, I'll do my best to take it in.
I'm guessing it's the fighting games where you kind of lose me or I lose you a little bit.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like just all these like mathematical equations start popping up on, you know, in front of my eyes. And I'm just like, what's going on? Like, and it just goes over my head.
Fair enough. One of the things that I borrowed from Sandow in that one is like every time he would finish the promo, he would shout, "You're welcome."
Okay.
So I was like, "You're welcome. Keep blazing that trail." Like, that was how I end that particular rant video.
That is clever. I like that.
So that's going to be something that I'll do for my rant videos going forward, is I'll like incorporate Sandow's cheeky "You're welcome."
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea.
And then I'll incorporate like my own sign off into it.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. That sounds really fun.
Like, I'm just having fun with the rant videos because for me, they're a way to let off steam, but also they're a way that I can showcase my more off-color humor that I can't in my more professional videos.
Yeah, like if it's able to, you know, satisfy this inner part of yourself that, you know, might be contained, then definitely like make the most of it and create content out of it for sure.
Yeah. Like, you've probably noticed that I maybe do one rant video every 3-ish months or so.
Yeah, I mean, I have noticed like you've had a couple of recent ones over the past couple of months, but yeah, like they're definitely few and far between.
I have noticed though that if I do a rant video, my viewership spikes for a little while afterwards.
Well, honestly, man, like if that's content that viewers are being drawn to, then like it could be something to deliberately hone in on to like boost growth on the channel.
Oh, I'm definitely considering it, but the thing is, you've probably noticed that my rants are always very, very honest.
Yeah, but again, at least me, I do like honesty, even if it comes across as like too
Snobbery.
negative or too offensive. I do like honesty.
Yep. But the thing is, like, I have to be in the right mindset to actually make one of those videos, and something has to have, like, riled me up.
Yes, definitely.
And in this instance, people saying that I was way too negative, that kind of stung a little bit, and I felt the need to clarify.
Yeah, it happens, man.
Um,
Uh, we've got a minute left on the clock, by the way.
oh, geez. Okay, we'll do part 3 for this one because it's been a fun discussion, and I want to discuss a few games that I'd like to see in movies.
Yes, no, absolutely.
Okay, I will see you in 10 minutes.
I'll see you then.
Okay, it started recording now. Okay, so we've been babbling for a while. This is now our third go at the movie show, which I thought was going to be possibly a short episode. So let's get back to it, Upper Nimbus.
Let's do it.
So let's get into some movies that we really want to see made into, well, movies, well, from video games. I completely butchered that sentence.
All good, all good.
So,
Do you want me to go or did you want to go?
yeah, I'll let you go and then I'll get into a few.
Okay. Yeah, you know what? I would definitely love to see a Legend of Zelda movie. And yes, I would like to see it live action. And the reason why is because when I was younger and when YouTube was, still a relatively new platform and, it was only around for a handful of years, going back to the mid 2000s and all
Where
that.
you could only upload 5-minute videos.
Yeah. But I mean, more so when, they allowed us to finally upload more lengthy videos. I used to watch fan made like Zelda series on YouTube,
Yep.
and there was tons of them. There were so many.
See, you could almost do a whole series on YouTube on that since reaction content is so huge.
Exactly. Like, yeah, reaction videos, they don't always do well, but they can do well.
Yep.
So yeah, like, and I just think from having that imagination when I was younger and seeing other people's ideas for like their original takes on the Zelda series, and yes, of course, like being amateur video series, they were, a little bit cringy here and there, but you could see the love and the passion that the people in the videos have put together, how much they love the Zelda games. And just sort of from those early days, of course, it would make me think going back, oh, what if there was an actual Zelda movie? Like, how cool would that be? So I would definitely say The Legend of Zelda is something I want to see adapted.
I would definitely like to see that too, and I actually have an actress in mind for Zelda herself.
Okay, who do you have in mind?
Kiernan Shipka.
Okay, I'm an absolute dumbass. I don't even know that name.
She played Sabrina in The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina.
Oh, the series that you're watching now?
I finished watching it.
Okay, cool. Oh wow, I'll have to
You've got
or you
Netflix,
can
yeah?
no, I don't, but my partner does.
Okay, you can watch it through her.
Yeah, okay, that sounds good actually.
Maybe you two could watch it together.
Yeah, she'd probably be down for that.
But I will get a picture of Kiernan Shipka for you, and you can tell me what you think.
Okay, I will be at the ready for that. But yeah, so like a Zelda movie. I mean, it could be a Zelda TV series. I know there was like the rumors that, funnily enough, Netflix were going to be developing a Zelda series, but I'm going to be honest, I don't really believe in those rumors. I just don't think there's really any credibility to it. I just think it was wishful thinking.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, I sometimes like rumors really give me the shits. Like I can get excited about leaks when a leak is legitimate because it gives me a glimpse into something to look forward to. But at the same time, most of the time they're just rumors and they don't lead to anything. And I just hate it when people, they go out of their way to believe so heavily and they're so gullible that a rumor is 100% factually correct. And it's just like, can we just like wait a little bit more for more information before trying to confirm that this thing might even be happening?
And you've probably noticed that I don't cover rumors on my channel all that much, and when I do, I cover them when I actually have a lead as to it being real.
Yeah, like that's the thing. If like a content creator is doing research for a rumor that, they believe they found something that could give credibility, that's awesome. But yeah, there's a lot of content creators I've come across who rely too heavily on just like rumor videos, and they're looking for any piece of information, whether it's true or false, and they don't care because to them it's just content, and it gets in heaps of viewers because people are like, oh my god, there's a new leak, there's a new rumor. Like Smash Brothers especially is so guilty of that.
The fighting game community is especially bad for it in general, which
Yeah,
I
yeah.
consider Smash to be a part of the fighting game community because it is there despite Nintendo trying to kill it off many, 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 many times.
Yep.
But yeah, I sent you a picture of Kiernan Shipka. Well, her
Okay.
Instagram.
Yep. Okay. I am seeing what she looks like. Okay. Yes. Open the link.
You can see why I'm like,
okay.
why I think she'd be pretty decent for Zelda.
And that's more so, are you just looking at that as a visual perspective?
Yeah.
Yeah, like she can easily pull off a regal aesthetic, and also the blonde hair definitely helps.
Also, in Sabrina, she kind of plays like this really awesome mix of really sweet and sometimes a little bit cruel, but that's just Sabrina's character in that iteration.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying they would do that with Zelda, where she would be cruel sometimes. It's just like there's definitely a sting to Shipka when she wants to show that side of herself in acting.
Yeah. She could probably pull off Zelda. Like she probably could.
Mm-hmm. Who's an actress you would like to see in the role?
Fuck.
I'll put another one out for you. If she was a lot younger, Cate Blanchett.
Oh yeah, that would have been a good pair up.
I mean, she could do an older take on the character, maybe.
True, but unfortunately, I don't think Nintendo is going to do older versions of the Zelda characters as their first film. That would be a very strange approach. But yeah, I would be surprised if they did that.
I would be too.
Yeah, that'd be so weird. But yeah, I guess like The Legend of Zelda is probably the one I'd be most excited for. And yeah, I guess that's my choice. But what about you, Colin? What game series would you really love to see as a movie?
Ys.
Holy crap! Okay, it would have to be like anime. Would you see it as anime?
I could see it as anime or live action or a whole number of things. Like they could really do a lot with the Ys series.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, exactly. Like it would work as a live action movie. They would, because it's effectively at its core a piece of adventure media.
Definitely. Oh, it definitely is.
And, adventure movies can take so many different shapes. They even have Muppets adventure movies, or did, no longer really do. Because, like, they did Treasure Island, as an example, which I would say is one of the core stories for the adventure genre.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely is.
Would you prefer to see Ys as a anime, or would you prefer to see it live action?
It's funny because like with some of the, especially in Ys 8, some of the cutscenes are already animated. Like that's kind of already giving a hint of what it could look like as an animated film. So I think it'd be more interesting as live action because obviously that has not been done with Ys.
Also, I think if they did a movie on it, that would actually be what would break Ys into the mainstream.
Definitely. Because like even though One Piece, I know this, this is manga anime, but they did the live action One Piece series recently, and that has done tremendously well. Like it's created an even greater reach with like, I guess, quote unquote normies. So there's people
I'm glad
who
I'm not the only one who uses that term.
Yep, I'll definitely use that term. I'm guilty of that. Um, but
I try
yeah,
to avoid it because I've been told I come across as elitist when I use it. I think that's because of how I speak in general.
yeah, I can see that. But hey, it is what it is, man.
Yep,
It's all good. Um, but like, yeah, because the One Piece series, that live action is it's good. It's definitely good. And it's done really well. So, like even though One Piece is technically mainstream, like in the anime community, it's yeah got a greater reach now thanks to the live action, and I could see the same thing happening if East was live action adapted, because obviously I just think there's a lot more people who'd probably just watch live action movies rather than cartoons or animated things.
definitely.
So that would be awesome.
But I think East is like the perfect kind of movie that you could adapt into, or perfect video game that you could adapt into a movie franchise or as a like continuously running series.
Well, yeah, because like are all like the East games they're like contained story?
They're contained stories, but they do have small references to each other because Falcom don't actually release the East games in chronological order.
Oh, okay, right.
So, like, East 9 is chronologically the oldest we've ever seen at all,
Oh, okay, yep. So it's like more recent entry, like canonically speaking.
whereas East 8 is quite early in his adventures.
Right.
And East 10 is going to be one of his earliest adventures
So that's gonna predate the events of East 8.
by a long shot.
Damn. Have we I think you've mentioned East 10 in one of your previous videos.
I have.
Um do we have we like are there any trailers for that? Like I don't know
It's
if there's
already out in Japan.
oh fuck, okay. Well, all right then.
Yeah.
um yeah, because I will definitely want to pick that up if it comes like westbound.
Oh, it's going to. I think it's going to come next year because funny that you should mention, like we were discussing rumor content a little while ago.
Yeah.
Um, you know how Trails Through Daybreak got announced randomly at that Falcom with NIS America live stream, right?
Yes.
I actually knew months in advance that we were going to get Trails Through Daybreak around then. I
Yep.
just didn't know if it was going to be Tokyo Game Show or if they were going to do like its own separate announcement like they wound up doing.
Yeah.
But I knew months in advance from some inside, well, not inside sources, but industry contacts, let's just say that,
Mm.
that Trails Through Daybreak was coming. I didn't know what it was going to be localized as because I'd heard that it was going to be Trails Through Darkness
Right.
because Kuro no Kiseki, which is what it's called in Japan, roughly translates to Trails from Black.
Yeah, because I know Kuro is black because I've done some Japanese in the past.
Yeah,
So yeah, that makes sense. Or expecting it to be Trails into Darkness is what you said.
Trails Through Darkness, yeah.
Trails through Darkness. Right, right,
But they went with Trails Through Daybreak, so
right. I guess that kind of makes sense because like daybreak, like like dawn. So we're coming
yep,
from the darkness into the light.
yep.
Yeah, so that actually makes a lot of sense.
So I can see why they localized it as that. But anyways, my point being is I had heard that we were going to get uh Kuro, and I was like, cool. And I didn't like do any content with it because I was just like, yeah, I don't want to have egg on my face in case this goes horribly, horribly wrong.
Yeah.
But I kind of knew it was coming. So that's why with my predictions video, which you probably saw, that's one where I mentioned East 10. I was like, we're going to get Trails Through Daybreak with this announcement.
Mm.
And I also had predicted that we would get East 10 announced because it was just days away from being released in Japan.
Yeah, like I mean, you probably saw those patterns and you put two and two together, and you're like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense,
Yep.
and your predictions were right. So that's
Well,
an
one of
awesome
them was
feeling.
right.
Well, yeah, one of them.
it was pure speculation on my part for East 10.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing rumors that we're going to have that announced next year and it'll release early 2025 for us.
Yeah, I can see that.
Anyways, yeah, East is a franchise I would love to see either as a short running, like not a short running series, but like, Game of Thrones length seasons.
That would be so much fun. But man, it's almost like a pipe dream, like for East to be chosen in that regard, because it is a niche franchise, like especially in the West.
Which is funny since action RPGs tend to be more popular over turn-based ones.
Yeah, like they are. Even though I kind of prefer turn-based RPGs, I do like some action-based RPGs. It sort of just depends on what it is. But yeah, you would think that East would have a higher chance of getting more recognition in the West because of the action nature. But I don't know, like some games just don't like they don't always get the chance to shine for a larger demographic.
I feel like a lot of why Falcom is still so niche in the West is because despite Xseed being, a great publisher for them over
Yeah.
the years, they were just too small of a publisher and they didn't market the Falcom stuff as much as they should have.
Right, right.
Whereas I feel like even though people have gripes with NIS America as a publishing house for Falcom games, I
Yeah.
feel like they've done a mostly pretty good job.
Yeah, it hasn't been too bad, has it?
Except for East 8 originally. That was a debacle.
Because was that originally released? Was it PS4 or PS Vita?
PS Vita.
PS Vita.
But they really fucked it with that one.
Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate.
And I feel like, generally speaking, though, being localized for so long by Xseed really caused issues for Falcom because Xseed just didn't have the budget to market it.
Yeah. But like because they're basically like fully under NIS America now, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I feel NIS just had the budget, and that's why we're starting to see these games get some of the recognition they deserve.
Yeah. Because like I know NIS America is a bit of a hit and miss, like mixed bag with their game releases. But they've definitely had some bangers come out of the mix, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. And of course, I'd love to see Fire Emblem get turned into a movie or series. I feel like that one would be better off as a series, though.
I agree. I feel like it would definitely benefit more sort of going the Game of Thrones route, like with it being, a web series or a TV series or whatever. Yeah, and it's always interesting to sort of think when they do these adaptations, is it going to be an adaptation that's taking the IP, basing it around multiple games, like plot wise or whatever, and mashing it up and then pumping out something that's like quote unquote original? Or do they pick one particular entry from a series and go, yep, this is the most popular, this is the one that people are most familiar with, and turn that like in a semi one-to-one adaptation for a film?
I agree. When we were taking our little 10-minute break to feed Zoom some more quarters, so to
Yeah.
speak, I actually got to thinking about why video game movies really haven't done well. And I think a lot of it is because characterization can be so hard to convey in the genres of movies they've been mostly trying to tackle, which is action.
Yeah.
Whereas I think that video games might actually flourish more if you do series for them.
Because then obviously there can be more screen time and more development for what they're trying to convey.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be nice.
But that's just my general thoughts on the matter. So, are there any more movies you'd like to see made from video games?
Uh Again, I feel like I'm mostly going to be choosing Nintendo stuff because I'm the Nintendo guy. Uh I'd say as much as I love Xenoblade Chronicles, I don't think I want to see that as an adaptation. I feel like Xenoblade's like in its own sort of
Ballpark.
pocket. Yeah, it's kind of like if you do anything with Xenoblade that isn't properly Xenoblade, like that can get messy and tarnish the IP. I
Hmm.
feel like they need to keep it like under the helm of Monolith Soft and just keep it as games. Or if it like if they do like another form of medium with Xenoblade, like whether it's, yes, it is a series or something, Monolith Soft kind of needs to be the one that brings forth the idea and basically be in full control of the project, because I would not want to be passing it off to some third party producer and just hope for the best. Even with them having like an overseeing role, I feel like they would have to like create it from within their own development studio,
I get what you
because
mean.
yeah,
But you
because
got me thinking
yeah.
about what they could do with Xenosaga and stuff.
Well, there's actually a Xenosaga anime series.
Yeah, I just meant Zeno in general. I just said Saga because brain go bleh.
Well, I mean, yeah, when you, I'm not going to spoil anything, but like the Xeno name, yeah, like they're all called Xeno because you know there's a there's
There's an
attempted
overarching.
connections. Yeah,
Anyways, my
yeah.
idea is what about a manga for that series? I feel like that would be very fitting
Yo, that I would definitely be down for that more so. And I mean
because
they
I
could
feel
just.
like from what I've read and seen of it, I don't think it's one that could be easily adapted into film or TV.
I don't think so. Yeah, that's why I'm so hesitant to want to see an adaptation of that, like more so for film, as you're saying. But manga, on the other hand, that would probably suit it better.
And
Um,
and they could really explore like side characters who don't get the limelight in the games.
yeah, they definitely could. Like they could add those tidbits in there, or even have actual side stories, like a whole series that could just be like side stories of Xenoblade characters.
Which Sword Art Online has done before.
Yeah, I've never watched Sword Art Online.
I really like it. Also, I sent you like its first season theme song, the cover by Amelie a couple days ago. What did you think of it
Yes, you
overall?
did. Yeah, I do know that song. That song is very iconic.
What did you think of her performance overall?
Man, her vocals are crisp. Like they're so good. It's like, it's like an angel speaking to me.
I agree. You should hear her cover of Rivers in the Desert. That's from the Persona 5 soundtrack.
Oh, I would love to see that.
I really love her take on it because she takes the jazz rock that was already present in there and she adds an electronica element to it.
Okay, now you got my attention because, like I said in that previous podcast, I love electronic music.
Me too.
Oh,
I
you
don't
do?
I don't know like a lot of it, but like I enjoy hearing it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah. It's sort of like, as you're saying, like you might hear it in the background somewhere, and you might find yourself like jamming out to it or whatever.
Yeah. Like Kraftwerk, my mom used to play them a lot, and I always liked their music, and they were like kind of one of the original electronic band sounds.
Yeah, definitely.
So one last I'd really love to see tackled would be Crash Bandicoot and Spyro.
Now I feel like that would. This is just me, but like it would have to be like 3D animation, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Did you
because
know that there was originally going to be a Crash Bandicoot cartoon?
I probably did hear rumblings about it at some point, and honestly, that doesn't surprise me because of how big Crash Bandicoot is.
Well, this was like before Crash was even like a known thing because what was going on behind the scenes was Naughty Dog had commissioned like a pilot
Right.
and it was paying homage to the Tex Avery era of Looney Tunes.
Oh, okay.
And the animation looked good. I'll
Mm.
I'll be honest about that, but the uh acting was god awful. And the music
geez.
was cringe.
Oh, yeah. If you don't have good like backing music, that can be a massive distraction.
And like, yeah, I could see them maybe doing something like that, but because that's not a style that's popular with kids these days, seriously, get
Yeah,
educated,
I
guys.
know, right?
Anyways, since that style really isn't popular, I feel like they have to go the 3D route if they're going to adapt either Crash or Spyro.
I agree because they did the Ratchet and Clank movie, didn't they, a few years ago?
Yeah, they did it in like 2016, 2017.
Yeah, I know that's a bit whatever. Like,
I've watched it. It's actually decent. Like I can tell that there was something there, but the
yeah,
studio involved clearly like did things their own way, and I can tell that that pissed off Insomniac.
yeah,
Uh, and I feel like a lot of the budget for the movie didn't go to where it should have. It went to getting big name actors involved,
yeah.
and I feel that did hurt the movie quite extensively.
Mm,
But James Arnold Taylor, he did a good job as Ratchet, as he always does.
yeah.
And um, Armin Shimmerman, I hope I said his name right. He did
Hopefully,
a he did a really good job as Doctor Nefarious. I love him as Quark though in Deep Space Nine.
nice.
You a fan of Star Trek?
Uh not particularly. I'm as much as like because I've mentioned I really like Halo. I mean, I used to play Halo quite a bit. Halo was really the only sci-fi franchise that I fully got into. Because I'm more of like a anime medieval fantasy kind
Yeah.
of sucker. Yeah, I don't know, just I can't fully get into sci-fi.
Well, if you're ever willing to give it a try, Deep Space Nine is a great one to go with because it's very character driven. It's not like super focused on the sci-fi aspects all of the time, and it just works.
Okay, well, I am willing to be open to check that out.
Awesome. So before we wrap up, what other things would you like to mention?
Um, honestly, I I would probably say again, the Zelda series is what I would want to see the most as an adaptation. And like there's nothing else I'm too gung ho about. I think I just want to be surprised going forward with what franchises they look at adapting. I'm open to different ideas, but it would be good if going forward with like the success of things like the Sonic movies and the Mario Brothers movie, if we can somehow continue getting solid game adaptation films. And I think that like now that we've got this younger generation, now sort of being in the prime for the film industry and all of that,
Our
I feel like there's
generation, basically.
yeah, exactly. And obviously, I mean, fucking hell, like I swear to God, 99% of Generation Z is thriving in pop culture and video games and all of that.
Whereas us
Because,
millennials are kind of just left to flap in the wind.
yeah, because like, obviously, like you would agree with me when you were younger in school, like you were like the minority for being nerdy or geeky and having an interest in pop culture.
Yep. I honestly
Yeah.
would say that millennials are the generation God so called forgot. I am, of course, paraphrasing from Fight Club there.
Yeah, exactly. And like, what I do like is, I know this is going down the rabbit hole, but one thing I liked about pop culture kind of being a bit niche when I was younger was that it felt more special when you
Yep.
would come across other nerds. It's like, hey, I've been bullied, I've been outcasted, and then you're like, holy crap, there's somebody else who likes the same thing that I like. What were the odds of coming across that person? And like back then, things maintained like a sense of longevity because you get a lot of pop culture media these days where it's like it's seasonal. It's like, oh, what's trending now? Like, what do we care about like within the next 2 weeks? Whereas back then, you could talk about the same thing with a legacy and it would still be important to discussion, like for many, many years,
Yep.
going back in that era. And that's why it was so special. And finding those people was quite magical. But I mean, it's cool seeing pop culture and nerds rise up, as so to speak, but it's so mainstream that it doesn't feel special anymore.
And I think that's part of why Falcom games feel so special, is because they kind of capture that whole do-it-yourself niche mentality, and they haven't quite exploded yet.
Yes, I agree. And it could be a double-edged sword, because it's like you would want Falcom to succeed with their games and grow and get bigger, but then it's like, what if it does get to a point where it's too mainstream, and then that uniqueness to the franchises, like to the games that Falcom produces, what if like it loses its charm?
I think there's a chance that might happen when Toshihiro Kondo retires, because he is kind of the lifeblood of that company. Because here's something really fucking cool. I don't know if you knew this or not, but Kondo actually, excuse me, I burped. I apologize. That was gross. Anyways, before my belly decided to be weird, as I was saying, Toshihiro Kondo was a fan of Nihon Falcom, because here's something really cool. Falcom is actually the reason home computers exploded in Japan, because they were buying and importing and actually building computers way back in the day and selling them out of their shop in Tokyo.
Wow.
Yeah. And basically, they were also producing some of their own games for these computers at the same time. And Kondo was a fan of their games. And he basically applied and got in as like a newsroom or a mailroom guy. I said newsroom because that was my career. I'm a derp. Anyways, he did that, and then he worked his way up the company. And the fact that Kondo is a gamer himself, I would say that really shows through in the types of games that Falcom produce. They are more concerned about telling a very good story and building very good mechanics. The graphics are always very secondary.
And like that's the thing, is like, because I'm not a graphics whore. Like I definitely feel like as long as the gameplay is solid, responsive, and at least 30 FPS for the frame rate, and there is something addictive or draws me in for a narrative or where the story is headed for a game, if you can get all that nailed down, then usually it's a pretty good game.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way.
Yeah, and like graphics, like they're nice, but there's a lot of games that focus on graphics and like the gameplay is abysmal.
The Last of Us, I'm calling you out for that one.
Yeah, like relying too much on the cinematic experience where all you're doing is just like watching a movie.
Yep. As long as the graphics aren't actively making my eyes bleed, I could care less about how they, or I couldn't care less about how, whatever the fucking phrase is.
Yeah,
I always get them mixed up.
Yeah, same here. I'm really bad at. I'm really bad at thinking like on the spot. Like I'm not good at improvisation. So I can sort of stumble on my words as well.
Yeah. Basically, I'm just saying, as long as my eyes aren't bleeding, I don't care what the game looks like.
Yeah, basically, you don't want those polygonal breasts stabbing you in the eyes.
Exactly. So, since we are now at the end of the show, where can people find you? What are some socials you'd like to plug? And what else have you got going on in your life that you want to talk about?
Yes. So, as obviously anyone who's watched this video is aware, my YouTube name is Upper Nimbus. That's as one word. If you type Upper and Nimbus separately, you will get, I think it's Asics gel shoes come up in the recommendations. That's annoying, because I hope that one day the branding name of my channel gets big enough that it overtakes Asics. Fuck you, Asics. So please put Upper and Nimbus together as one word. You will find me. And yes, I produce Nintendo content mainly, and also JRPG content. And I'm still trying to figure out the whole YouTube thing for where I want the channel to go, but that's the main focus, is that type of content.
Perfect. Thank you for coming on, Upper Nimbus. Hopefully you can actually make your own shoe brand. That would actually be kind of cool.
That would be cool. And yeah, something that won't kill my heels.
I know that problem all too well. Anyways,
Yeah.
guys, 2 of my previous podcasts will be popping up now. I don't know which ones they'll be. One of them will be whatever YouTube thinks you like, and I'll just pick the other one at a later point. So until next time, keep blazing that trail.